Hello, this is Joe from Nerd in Korea. We are doing our MTG keywords and we're looking at Toxic today. So in this series we look at different keywords and mechanics from different sets. This is very similar to infect, but better. Basically they tried to fix infect. And finally we'll take a look at some of the budget cards that this has to offer. There are some great ones. So what is Toxic? Toxic, first of all, is a combat ability. It is only triggered by combat damage and it does not have any effect on creatures. So the creatures will take damage as normal, but yeah. This is one thing that's different from Infect. Infect gave them -1/-1 counters, which got annoying, so they got rid of that. One fix right there. Players dealt damage will take the damage and receive that amount of poison counters. So it'll say like Toxic 1, they take 1 poison counter, Toxic 2, 2 poison counters, etc. Alright? Multiple instances of Toxic do stack, even of the same value. So if you've got a creature that has Toxic 1 and they get Toxic 1 from another source, they both go off, right? They take 2 poison counters, basically. So it is like Toxic 2, but not exactly. They can be important, the distinction can matter. Does this sound familiar? So as I said, it's similar to Infect. So this is an attempt to fix the Infect mechanic, which is a little overpowered, I agree. It is also very different. Infect causes all damage dealt to be in poison counters. So Infect, basically, if you damage, Infect does not do damage anymore. To creatures they take -1/-1 counters, and then to players they take poison counters. There's no more damage. Yeah. So it's very different in that, yeah, Toxic is still doing damage. So in that way, it's kind of better. But yeah, in general, you can't just like give a creature, an infect creature, like 10 power and they just one-shot anyone. That's a little, people don't like that. Honorable mentions. Okay, Slaughter Singer. It's a green and white for a 2/2. It has Toxic 2, which isn't bad. Again, every time it's going to do 2 poison counters. And whenever another creature you control with Toxic attacks, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn. So this is buffing everything with Toxic, basically. 6 cents. Prosthetic Injector. It's only 1 for an artifact equipment that's 1 to equip. So it's very cheap for that, and it gives +2 toughness and Toxic 1. Remember, these do stack, so if it has Toxic and you equip this, it just gets another form of Toxic. Even Toxic 1, it'll get 2 Toxic 1s. So that can be very good. 14 cents. And finally, Blight Belly Rat, 1 and a black for a 2/2, Toxic 1 again, and when it dies, Proliferate. Proliferate and Infect love each other, right? These are counters, so if you proliferate, you just keep throwing those counters on again and again and again. And with black, you got a lot of recursion, so you can just keep pulling this out of the graveyard, sacking it, goes back, and yeah, sack, and yeah, you'll proliferate like crazy. 14 cents. Number 5. Okay, Tainted Observer. So 1 Simic that's green-blue for a 2/3 flyer with Toxic 1. And whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, pay 2, proliferate. If you pay 2, you don't have to. Extra proliferate, it can just be useful in so many decks. I have got an Azuri budget one that makes use of this, which is super good, but yeah. Anyway, 32 cents. Number 4. Voidwing Hybrid. So it is Demir, 1 or blue and a black, and for a 2/1 flyer with Toxic 1, and whenever you proliferate, you can return this to your hand. So yeah, you can just keep. Yeah, basically you don't have to care if this gets, taken out in battle, or in combat I should say, because you can just keep blocking with it, and yeah, throwing it back to your hand over and over and over. It does have evasion, so if you're going to attack with it, you can get the Toxic 1 in a bit easier. Just an awesome card and a real pain in the butt. Kind of have to exile this one. 16 cents. Number 3. Venser Corpse Puppet. Okay, once again, Demir. So a blue and a black for a 1/3. Lifelink Toxic 1 now. Nice. Sure. Super creepy. This one, the art on it even is like real creepy. Anyway, so whenever you proliferate, choose one. You can make a 3/3 golem if you don't control one. So it's basically like legendary, but it doesn't have a legendary, so you can copy it, but if there's one on the battlefield, you can't make another one with this power, basically. And target artifact creature you control gains flying and lifelink until end of turn. So this is great. If you've got some kind of weird Demir artifact creature proliferate deck, this is perfect. That's getting very niche, but it would be amazing at the same time. So yeah, 19 cents. Number 2. Skrelv's Hive. I think I said that right. So at the beginning of your, 1 and a white for an enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life and create a 1/1 colorless Phyrexian Might artifact creature token with Toxic 1, and this creature can't block. And as long as your opponent has 3 or more poison counters, creature you control have Toxic, with Toxic have lifelink. Okay, so this is gonna like make, in a Toxic deck, this is amazing because you're just gonna be giving everything lifelink as well. It's gonna make these tokens, which is great for getting your Toxic damage in, and just a whole bunch of lifelink as well. It does cost you 1 life to keep making these tokens, but combine that with some ETBs, like Alliance, which I covered in the last video, then yeah, you're getting some real value there as well. Anyway, 141. Which keywords do you want to hear? I really want input. I think people always believe I'm not going to actually listen to them or something. Or yeah, YouTubers don't like take input, but I always do. Every time. If someone says, hey, make this, I do it. Please hit like and subscribe. It really helps a lot. Yeah. And number 1. Okay. So Necrogen Rot Priest. So this is 2 Golgari for a 1/5. Toxic 2. Whenever a creature you control with Toxic deals combat damage to a player, that player gets an additional poison counter. So this is basically just a buff to Toxic. It is per creature, not per instance of Toxic, unfortunately. So yeah, I actually misread that and thought it was the other way around, but it is per creature. So yeah, even if the creature has like Toxic 1 3 times, they're still doing Toxic 1. They're going to do the 3 poison counters and 1 bonus one because it's 1 creature. But this still runs it up quickly, right? It makes it a lot faster, especially if you have multiple creatures doing it. Each creature does an extra poison counter. You can still knock someone out in 1 turn, maybe not just like with 1 creature. And target creature you control gains with Toxic gains Death Touch until end of turn. So again, that's 1 black green. You're basically making almost anything that has Toxic into a real threat. You can it's almost removal, right? Blocking becomes really hard when the person's like, oh, you're just gonna like take out my thing. I don't know if I want to block, but otherwise block and lose your creature or take the Toxic damage and gain poison counters with an extra poison counter. It's I think the reference is Sophie's Choice. I never watched the movie, but anyway, 9 cents. The list. Okay, Tainted Observer 132, Voidwing Hybrid 73 cents, Venser Corpse Puppet 19 cents, Skrelv's high. I knew it. Hive, Skrelv's hive. I said it wrong twice. Great. 141. Necrogen Rot Priest is 9 whole cents. Okay. Anyway, take it easy.